Country Grammar on the outside of Stiletto Boy, a joint second. 2.5 more. Breakfast Ride is losing ground while under a ride. Haywood's Beach one from the rail. And Hudson Ridge inside of him. They have 1/4 mile to go. And Country Grammar starts to strut his stuff, pouncing on Stiletto Boy and turning for home in command. Country Grammar suddenly 3 in front. Stiletto Boy in second, followed by Haywood's Beach and Breakfast Ride, a 16th to go. And Country Grammar overwhelms the competition in the San Antonio under Frankie Dettori. It's Country Grammar by 4 easy lengths. Stiletto Boy second, Haywood's Beach and Breakfast Ride. Dana walking in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Big Shamrock hustled hard out of there. On the far outside, it's Dancing Dana. La Deuxième Étoile is in the firing line, and D's Lovely Sophia now comes to battle too. Flame Lagoon is not far away, only about 1.5 lengths off the speed as they run down the hill. Smiling Molly is in between horses. Dancing Dana in the red, now backing up just a touch. Eleuthera is next, followed by Piazzetta racing on the inside of Big Beauty. That pair is followed by Big Shamrock, who's toward the back of the field, racing on the inside of Starship Sky as they head toward the quarter pole. And then it is a long, long way back to Lady Marianne. It's a strung out field that comes to the quarter pole. La Deuxième Étoile is the narrow leader. Between horses, Smiling Molly is in second. They're followed by Dancing Dana in the red colors. Just behind them, Eleuthera. Big Beauty is widest of all. Flame Lagoon inside of her. It's a driving finish. La Deuxième Étoile leads by 1.5 lengths close to home. Eleuthera coming through on the inside to challenge. La Deuxième Étoile on the far outside. Here's True Patriot exploding late and just missing to La Deuxième Étoile. True Patriot came with a flourish. Behind them, it was between Dancing Dana and Eleuthera, and the battle for 5th did include Flame Lagoon and Big Beauty. They're in the gate. And they're off in the La Brea. Ain't Easy gets the first call. Ganadora is coming through swiftly along the inside to challenge. They're followed by Fun to Dream and Midnight Memories in 4th. Awake at Midnight is 4 lengths off the leader. Then it's Under the Stars, and Kirsten Bosch is the distant trailer. It's Ganadora who's come through on the inside to lead Ain't Easy by a head. On the outside of them, Fun to Dream and Under the Stars has room down at the rail. She's only 1 length off the pace. Midnight Memories worked upon in the early stages. Awake at Midnight and another 5 to Kirsten Bosch. They move into the far turn. Ain't Easy on the outside. Ganadora at the rail. And a 3 wide Fun to Dream moves up on the outside. Within a head of the lead now. It's Ain't Easy in front. Fun to Dream moves to engage. Ganadora back to 3rd. Awake at Midnight. Purple Cap moves up next. Midnight Memories guided to the far outside. Kirsten Bosch trying to mount a bit of a bid there at the top of the stretch. And Fun to Dream is the leader. Awake at Midnight chasing with determination into 2nd, followed by Ain't Easy in 3rd. It's Fun to Dream digging in under Juan Hernandez. Awake at Midnight trying so hard. Fun to Dream. Awake at Midnight. Fun to Dream has won the Grade 1 La Brea. From Awake at Midnight, Kirsten Bosch rallied smartly into 3rd, followed by Midnight Memories and Ganadora. Loaded back in. All set. And they're off. Urban Fairy Tale in the center has some speed, as does Leisure Wear. And down on the inside, Precious Baby flashing some gas as well. So there are three across the course: Precious Baby, Urban Fairy Tales, and Leisure Wear, widest of all. That group followed by Gold Dragon Queen, and Ballet Dancing has settled smoothly 4 lengths off the leaders. Then Glenall in mid-pack on the outside of Barrister's Ride. Boccia follows that pair. Karakatsi is on the far outside. Clada Cure just in front of her at this stage. At the rail, My Favorite Daughter, and Almost a Factor. Around the first turn, and it's Precious Baby leading the way, showing it by 3/4 of a length. Leisure Well tracks comfortably in second, and Urban Fairy Tale with the green cap an eager third. Then Ballet Dancing fourth, 3.5 off the pace. Down at the rail, Gold Dragon Queen, followed by Glenall, Barrister's Ride, and Boccia as they come to the half-mile pole. That group is followed by My Favorite Daughter, who is in hand at this stage. Karakatsi is trying to move through a narrow opening along the fence. A 3-wide Clada Cure is racing on the outside of Almost a Factor. Rounding the far turn, Precious Baby getting some serious heat now as Leisure Wear takes the lead away from her, immediately tackled by Ballet Dancing, who's cut loose at the quarter pole, and Ballet Dancing makes a nice move for the front. Leisure Wear is a half length back in second. 3 more to Urban Fairy Tale in third, followed by Barrister's Ride, who's finishing with some interest outside My Favorite Daughter and Karakatsi. It's Ballet Dancing and Frankie Dettori for a riding triple. Ballet Dancing much the best. Leisure Wear was second. Barrister's Ride, My Favorite Daughter, and Karakatsi. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Runhappy Malibu, and Straight No Chaser flies out of the gate very quick with Strava in second. And now here's Forbidden Kingdom flashing his early foot, and Forbidden Kingdom is up to take the lead pretty easily. Perfect Flight is up and on the pace between rivals. Straight No Chaser just outside of him. Taba is 1 from the rail. Apprehend on the fence, just 3 lengths off the lead, followed by Hoist the Gold, racing on the inside of Strava. Messier second to last, and Nakatomi at the back. 8 lengths covers them as they chase Forbidden Kingdom past the half-mile pole. He has a 3-length lead on Taba second. Straight No Chaser to the outside third. Apprehend a ground-saving fourth. He's 4 lengths off the lead. Then Hoist the Gold, inside Perfect Flight. Strava inching up just outside of that pair, followed by Nakatomi and Messier at the back. 1/4 mile to go. Forbidden Kingdom, Taba, and Straight No Chaser. 3 of them across the track as they turn for home. Taba between horses. Straight No Chaser running the race of his life. These two will arrive at the 8th pole together. Hoist the Gold is finishing with interest on the outside. So is Nakatomi. A 16th to go, and Taba starts to pull away late. It's Taba, absolutely terrific in winning the Runhappy Malibu by 4 widening lengths. Forbidden Kingdom was second. Then it was Hoist the Gold in front of Nakatomi. The running time, a crisp 1:21.75 seconds. The Grade 1 American Oaks is next. Number 2, Sparkle Blue, make the jockey Joe Bravo. Post time in 20. Dance to the far outside. They're in the gate. They're off in the American Oaks. It's a quick beginning for Salima. Sparkle Blue has some early interest as well. And they're joined by Lady Clementine with the yellow cap, who's drifting just a touch as they get to the main course. Salima will be the pace setter, opens it up to a length and a half. School Dance now moves into second. Down at the rail, it's Sparkle Blue, a close-up and well-held third. Mise en Scène is in the center, moving up now in fourth, about 2.5 or 3 lengths off the leader. They are followed mid-pack by Lady Clementine. Skims has made it over to the rail and is only about 4 or 5 lengths off the lead as they move into the first turn. That group is followed by Bell Street Brighty. Rhea Moon in the turquoise colors is down on the inside. Oakhurst between rivals. Duvet Day outside of them, and Pizza Bianca at the back of the field. It's Salima, the controlling speed, has it by just under a length. With School Dance in second, Mise en Scène a 3-wide third, followed by Sparkle Blue, Lady Clementine, and Skims is racing between those two, 3.5 lengths off the pace. Rhea Moon and Duvet Day are right together with less than a half mile to go in the Grade 1 American Oaks, Oakhurst, and Pizza Bianca. They're covered by just 8 lengths into the far turn. And it's Salima and Flavienne Pratt dictating all the terms, letting it out a notch now to lead by about a length and a half. School Dance trying to cling to her, cuts right back into the margin. It's a neck with a 1/4 mile to go. Mise en Scène is next. Just behind them, Lady Clementine, Skims. They turn for home at the rail. Salima is asked to kick on as School Dance goes on by. There's clear sailing for Rhea Moon on the outside, inside the final 1/8 of a mile. And Skims is running a good race between horses. Here's Rhea Moon after School Dance. And from the back, Oakhurst flying late. Rhea Moon gets up to win the American Oaks from School Dance. Then it was a photo for third, and it did involve Oakhurst. Inside of her was Sparkle Blue and Skims.
Well, welcome to Quigley's Corner. I'm Millie Ball, and I'm standing in for your normal host, Tom Quigley, who's away on our handicapping seminar here at Santa Anita. Well, we have 9 races on the program this afternoon. We have 2 stakes for a Friday, which is exciting, and it's a pretty tricky card, which might mean that we have a good payout in the Rainbow Pick 6. Because it's tricky, I brought my best ammunition with me here, Jeff Siegel, to help me handicap the card. So thanks for joining me, Jeff. You'll be here all weekend.
I will be. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday here, and then I'll be out doing the simulcast later this afternoon. So I'm prepared.
You got your Nike shoes on?
Yeah, no, I've just got regular shoes today. But I will say this: when they told me I was going to do this a couple of days ago, I said, okay, now I really have to work. I don't want to do the blah, blah, blah. So we'll try to pick some winners and give you some insight. Information is king. You can play who you want to play for sure, but we're going to fill in the gaps, I hope, anyway.
Right, indeed. And I want to fill in just a couple of gaps with Jeff Siegel and where he's been and what he's been doing. He does all the workout reports and posts them on the Santa Anita website. Jeff, you also do some handicapping seminars and information with Jeremy Plunk. You put that content for first. You're a busy man.
Yeah, it's busy. It's good. It's a good busy because I'm working.
Right.
But no, what we do with first is we've got the full card analysis and wagering strategies, text version of it. And you can get that free at expressbet.com, xbtv.com, and santanita.com. So we do that. Then we've got our, which we did this morning, our stakes with Jeremy, our stakes podcast. And we got a podcast on Tuesday, which looks back at the previous week. And we've got also a best plays video we put together every day for Santa Anita. So most of my work is like in my living room, but I'm here today, and I've got some good stuff, I hope, anyway, that'll help you out.
And I wanted to ask your opinion of opening day. You have been to many opening days here at Santa Anita. Your impression of this year's opening day compared to many in the past?
Well, first of all, I went to my first opening day in 1960. So you weren't born yet, but I was. But I was only 8. So, I mean, and it was crowded then. And what was so thoroughly about opening day on Monday was that it brought back memories of what it used to be. Obviously now with intertrack wagering, you can bet, with the ADWs, a lot of people sit at home and bet. They don't come out here. It can be sometimes difficult to get here. But this looked like an old time opening day, and they bet their money. It was 40,000. And trust me, it was many, many people, because highest end of the grandstand, it's blocked off now because nobody ever sits there. They had to open that up. It was spillover from the bottom seats, and so that was kind of fun too, because that's when I used to sit way in the top when I was a kid. So that was fun. But the racing was great and competitive. Just a terrific day, and we got a good card today too, Millie. So it's that was a better than normal opening day. This is a much better than normal Friday for a second day. Hopefully we'll make good of it.
Just want to mention what I took from opening day was actually my fondest memory was seeing the line for the Flight Line poster to get signed. It just, when I walked in, it just hit me what an impression he had made on our fans, racing fans, and the long line that people were willing to stand in to get their poster signed was incredible. So it was a great way, I feel like, to cap off the year, send him off well with the fans behind him to stud.
Yeah, I mean, and that mural they have up there is quite good as well. I was actually here last week when they were painting it, and I didn't quite get the gist of it when they were starting off, but when I saw the finished product, pretty impressive for sure. And he was impressive, and I'm not sure I'll see anything like him, at least among the older ranks, because if they're that good as 3-year-olds, they're usually whisked away to stud.
Exactly.
But this horse missed the Triple Crown Flyline, so consequently, he did run as a 4-year-old, and we were lucky to see him.
Well, let's take a look at this card. So the first race on the program, maiden special weight, 1 mile on the turf course. And this is for 2-year-old fillies. You'll find that the general sort of feel of this card today are the babies, as we call them, the 2-year-olds who will be turning 3 on the 1st of January. What did you think about race 1?
This is a really interesting race from a handicapping standpoint, because you've got some things here that aren't necessarily obvious if you just read the form. Lapeer, number 10 right now. I think she's the morning line favorite. She's okay, but I think a good filly will beat her, and we might have one or two in here, including number 4, the Kristen Mulhall trained Tea Tree Bay. Now, this is a filly who's had 3 runs overseas in Ireland and at Dundalk. Dundalk is a tight left-handed track. It's an all-weather track. Now, in her most recent start, she ran second in a 14-runner field, Millie. That's pretty good, yes. 14 runners. But what you may not know is that the filly who beat her that day, Malibu, she was purchased privately after that race, ran at Gulfstream Park in the Wait a While Stakes earlier this month, got left at the gate, ran second, was probably best. So for Tea Tree Bay to run that well to Malibu, who we know now what she's good at, capable of doing, that's impressive. She arrives here fit for Kristen, the easy work tab. I think, and she's kind of a closer, a big rangy filly with a shadow roll. She looks like a scopy European type filly. I think Tea Tree Bay with Frankie Dettori riding, nothing wrong with that. I think she's got a very, very good chance. Right now, she's 3-1. And the other one, Millie, is Ancient Peace. This is a second-timer from Graham Motions Barn. Had the 12-hole at Del Mar first time out, kind of got lost out there. Didn't run badly at all. Puts the blinkers on. And look at her last work. This was on the dirt training track December 22nd. She really was into the bridle and working with a nice filly as well. So I think Ancient Peace has got a chance.
We're going to shot to see that work, but we're going to go right upstairs to Frank Miramati, our track announcer, as he gives you out the scratches and changes for today's card. And we'll be right back.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast. The turf course rated as good. With the rail on the turf out 20 feet, here are the early changes. In the first start of the 50-cent early pick 5, scratch number 5, Royale Flair. Please note we have a super high 5 carryover from opening day. $19,886, great wagering opportunity in the opener. In the second, start of the early pick 4. No changes. Race 3 is the Eddie Logan Stakes. There's no high 5 wagering in the Eddie Logan. Scratch 2, Tostado. And scratch number 7, Speedboat Beach. 2 and 7 are out of race number 3, the Eddie Logan Stakes. In the fourth, start of the Rainbow Pick 6, we start with a jackpot of $126,000. Race 5, scratch 7, Looks Rare. Scratch 12, Rain Over Me, and scratch 13, Phosphorescence. 7, 12, and 13 are out of race 5, start of the late pick 5. 6 kicks off the late pick 4, scratch 6, La Chiquis. In the 7th, program scratch of the 5, also take out the 13 and 14, the also eligible, scratched out of race 7. 8th race, scratch number 6, Egomania. With the scratch of Egomania, John White has revised the morning line. It's posted on the television monitor now. And in the 9th, the Blue Norther program scratch of number 1. Enjoy your day at Santa Anita Park. Post time for the first is in 58 minutes at 12 noon. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. Millie Ball filling in for Tom Quigley today. She's with Jeff Siegel looking at the card.
Thank you very much, Frank Miramati, giving us the scratches and changes for today's card. And a big scratch later on. We'll talk more about race number 3, the Eddie Logan Stakes. So we have Speedboat Beach, number 3, scratching out of there. Back to race 1, though. Ancient Peace. I know that you pulled up a workout, the most recent work for Ancient Peace. What is it about this 2-year-old filly that intrigues you?
She ran better than it looked in her debut from the 12-hole. She's got a better box. She's putting blinkers on, and she's working with a really nice filly here in company with G. Laurie, who I think is going to win the stake in the last race. So that's a pretty good filly she's working with. Now, she doesn't look like she's the easiest of rides here, Millie. You tell me. Blinkers, she kind of runs with her head up, and she just wants to get it on. But I think against maiden 2-year-old fillies, I think you're going to see her try to break running and maybe make the running.
You had the same idea I did. When you've got a horse that was rank first time out, and in that second start, you add blinkers and you put them in company for a workout. That to me is making sure that your horse is going to be sharp, right?
Absolutely.
So they know she's got speed. She wants to run early, so let her run early. So I was along the same lines as you.
And she's by Warfront, and they want to
get it on
too. Yeah. So from the 2-hole with Hernandez riding her back, and with the blinkers, and with that bullet work. I think, and Graham Ocean, who, by the way, 23% was second-time starters with maidens.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So I, as much as I like Tea Tree Bay, based on the company line she kept overseas, I could easily see Ancient Peace wire this field or run a lot better, especially if she's allowed to make the running. If she gets behind horses, she might pull a little bit, but if she can break running from the 2-hole, I wouldn't be surprised. Having said that, though, I think Tea Tree Bay is a better than average import, and I would be surprised if she doesn't run huge in her U.S. debut.
A lot of the private clockers focusing in on Carson Jen with that what was called a legitimate bullet, according to Andy Harrington and Carson Jen, the number 3 in there. So maybe one as a long shot to play in your exotics. Moving on to race number 2. Now, Jeff, this is a claiming race, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 3 races lifetime in here. Who did you figure in here?
This was hard. I mean, this is a group. First of all, it's a non-winners of 3, 20,000. So it's not a real open 20 where you've got some old tough old horses you can depend on. Many of these horses haven't won many. And I ended up with number 2, All About the Money, even though he's 2 for 19 lifetime. But he's been first or second 4 out of 7 here at Santa Anita. And that's good. He's also got some speed. His low sal race was good. And from an inside draw, he figures to be close up. Yet I think he's probably more effective if you can kind of take a hold of him a little bit and let him run the last part. I don't have a lot of confidence in this race. If I'm playing a rolling exotic, I'm going to spread. Seta Cento is got a win over the track in the second. He's coming off a starter race at Low Sal. That was his first start since the summer. So I don't know whether he kind of spent his best abilities in that race and might come back a little bit. He's coming back in 13 days. That's a little quick. So that's what I would be concerned of. But if I'm playing pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s, whatever it is, this is a race I'm going to try to spread.
We'll move on to race number 3 now. This is the Eddie Logan Stakes. I mentioned just earlier in this 2-year-old race that we had a key scratch in there, number 7, Speedboat Beach, and also in here, the Eddie Logan, Shoeshine Eddie, or the Footman as he was known. Jeff, I'm sure you have some good memories of Eddie Logan, who passed at the age of 98, but had been shining shoes here at Santa Anita since the very first day of racing. So it's great to have a race in his honor. Classical Cat, I focused in there. Is that where you went as well?
I looked. See, this is a tough race because when I originally handicapped, I was told that Speedboat Beach was not going to run. And then I said, well, maybe he will run. So I didn't know where to go here. I ended up actually going with Game Time. And the reason why I went with Game Time is because he actually ran with Speedboat Beach last time out, and he was hooked every step of the way, and he really didn't give up. And I thought maybe without Speedboat Beach in that race, Game Time would have won the Cecil B. DeMille at Del Mar. So now they're hooking up again, but now they're not because Speedboat Beach is scratched. So that makes Game Time's pace scenario a lot softer. And while there may be others in here that will go, like, for example, First Piece, Game Time, I think, has an opportunity now to sit either on the lead or maybe sit off it just a little bit. And I think without trying to battle Speedboat Beach, that's going to help Game Time go. Now, Nadgerok, who was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, on paper, that looks pretty good. I went back and watched this video. He got a great trip. The race, the finish position may have flattered him a little bit. I don't think he may not be quite that good, but he's good enough to win this if he runs the same type of race. So I think that's where the contention lies for me. Game Time and Nadgerok. As for Classical Cat, nice horse, no question about it. Kind of a grinding type horse. I don't think he has a great turn of foot. He was able to win here back in October. I've watched him work since then. It looks like he's working well. No reason why he can't improve, but on speed figures, he's slower than the rest. So I'm going to go with 6/5 for me in the Eddie Logan.
I was hoping that Game Time and maybe First Piece would hook up a little bit and set it up for Classical Cat in the Garden spot. But yes, the whole complexion of that race changed when we had the scratch of Speedboat Beach. And again, a reminder, the number 2 Tostado also out in race number 3. In the 4th race, back to some claiming action, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 lifetime. These are straight 3-year-olds who will soon be turning 4. And I just found a lot of one-paced horses in here, Jeff. It was hard for me to figure out how this race would unfold. Well,
there really isn't that much early speed in the race. They all kind of grind away. So if I'm John Sadler, and sometimes I wish I was, at least last year when he had Flightline, I'm telling Pratt, just send this horse. I'm talking about Nolo Contesto, who actually won a mile race on this main track back in 2019, beating Omaha Beach. That's the good news.
Wow.
That's the good news. And he beat him on the square. I know, because I needed Omaha Beach that day. And Nolo Contesto looked him in the eye and just wouldn't let him go by. That's the good news. Bad news, he hasn't won since then. So
it's funny how you always remember the horses that get beat when you bet on them, right?
But that's why he's eligible to this non-winners of 2 condition. This is a 16 non-winners of 2. Came off a more than a year layoff, did Nolo Contesto. I thought he ran pretty well in the sprint at Del Mar. Pretty hot sprint there. Got the rust off. Switches to Pratt. Coming out of that hot sprint, 22 flat, 44.4. Put him on the lead. I don't think Nolo Contesto is that generous when he has to come get somebody. But maybe if he can make the lead and get brave that way in a race that doesn't have that much speed, he might be able to wire this field. So I like number 5, Nolo Contesto. If it's not him, I really don't know who will beat him. So I'm just going to single him and be right or wrong. That's how I look at it.
I would have to throw in the number 4 Chipper in there, I think. Or go all in here, I think. Chipper, to me, he had a solid work. His most recent work, 47-4. It was working with Encode. He got quite a lot of hype with the private clockers, including Handicappers Report. So I thought, well, if there's a wake-up moment, today is the day for that horse to take advantage
I'll tell you what, he's coming out of a series of sprints, so he probably will show speed too. And looking at Chipper's form, 1 for 16 with 6 seconds and thirds, he's another one who might want to be close up. I don't think he wants to lay back and get somebody. So, but the theory is the same. Coming out of a couple of sprint races, going a mile, I think you'll see both of those horses run well.
Moving on now to race number 5, 1 mile on the turf course. Maiden special weights this time around. And yep, they're 2-year-olds. And the rail is out at 20 feet. Just a reminder there. So usually when that happens, speed is a big asset for a horse. Who did you like in this 2-year-old event?
Nobody. Well, here's the funny thing is I looked at every horse in the race, watched all the videos, and for every one thing I liked about him, there were 2 things I didn't. So someone's going to win. I promise you that. I defaulted to number 10, San Anton for Phil D'Amato, simply because it's a Phil D'Amato and he's first in Europe. And his form overseas in Ireland wasn't that bad. And he actually had looked pretty good in his workouts until his last workout, when he was in a 3-horse team on the inside, and he ended up first going in the top of the stretch and last at the wire. He didn't really find much, but maybe that's not the way he wants to run. Maybe you grab him, take a hold, get him some cover, and let him run the last part. So I ended up with number 10 with Pratt and D'Amato, number 10, San Antone. Among the others, I really had a hard time even finding a second horse. Ended up with number 7, who's been scratched. Looks rare because I thought he would be in front, so he's not running. Carver, the Sadler horse from the 2-hole, he showed speed last time and ran all right. That's a pretty nice horse who beat Mi Hermano Ramon. That was a pretty good race. So I could easily see Carver making the running here again, and this time being a little fitter.
And you liked Game Time earlier on in the card, and he had a really solid work on the 15th of December with Game Time.
Right.
So I thought that he was worth a look in
there.
So
those are the 2, 10/2 for me, and then anybody else you want to throw in, because like I say, I mean, Fleet Feet comes out of the Cecil B. DeMille, obviously a better field than this. So maybe he fits it with
What do you make with John Sadler using Contreras?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't bother me.
It's a good question to pose to him, right?
Yeah, I will ask him. John spreads the wealth a lot. If he can't get the biggies, Pratt or Juan Hernandez, and sometimes these guys come around the barn and they walk the horse and they said, you can ride him. So I don't know the story, but sometimes I want to know the story. But this one, I'm going to trust John on this.
Well, we have some great reporters out there on the track today, so listen up and maybe you'll find the answer to that question. Moving on to race number 6 now. Now, this was, I'll use your term, grab bag. In England, we'd say licorice all sorts. You pick your hand inside the licorice box, and whatever comes up, comes up. Who do you like in race number 6? It's a maiden claim of fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up.
Okay, I'm going to take a shot here with number 7, Big Newton. This is a filly who ran for maiden 50 first time out, which they could have run her at Los Al for anything. And she ran 7th and last. Okay, that doesn't sound too good. However, there are 3 things to know about that race. Number 1, she got bounced around and pinballed at the start, eliminated, I thought. Number 2, the jock kind of gave up on her, which I don't blame him for. So she wasn't knocked about in any way. She kind of let her run a racetrack. And actually, it doesn't look like it, but if you watch the video, she kind of galloped out okay. And number 3, her buyer speed figure, even running dead last, is a fit with these. I mean, I don't know how she's going to be if she gets dirt in her face and won't run, but I mean, she's only had the 1 start. Most of the others here are kind of exposed, So I ended up with number 7, Big Newton. I wouldn't make her a single, but Sugar from the rail, taking the blinkers off. I like that angle. Number 10, Sapadilla on the outside, going to get a good, clean trip outside. No dirt in her face. She could run better, and I could see her run better. So, again, a spread race for me, but the second-time starter who has a right to run a lot better than she did in her first start. And she was 6-1 first time. I got a little play, That's number 7, Big Newton.
Number 5, Big Bell. I have some inside information. Why?
I wonder why.
I'm married to the trainer.
Well, that's always good.
But Tim said the Big Bell's been training very well, actually. She will be running late, and he's cut her back in trip, so she should get a little bit more speed to run at. And that's the question is there going to be enough speed? She will be coming late. Will she be able to get up in time? But
I will say this. She's right there in my ticket for sure. Here's why. Number 1, she ran very well, I thought, in her only sprint. And being by Mr. Big, you figure you stretch him out, and that's what Tim did. And she ran all right, but maybe she's a late running sprinter. And also 6.5 will give her that extra half furlong to, if she wants to make that last run, as she did in her debut over this track way back in June of last year. She's going to have some help that extra half furlong. Plus, you switch to Pratt, who actually rode her in that first race and got the most run out of her. It all adds up. I mean, you have to run. You have to use Big Bell.
And she actually showed more speed than I was expecting from the gate drill. She went 59-4. That was back on the 15th of December, and she was quick early in that particular work, then came back and won the team drill after that. So we'll see if she can get up, but she should be coming running, and she gets a great jockey in Flavien Prat. Race number 7, an allowance, 6.5 furlongs. This is down our unique hillside turf course here at Santa Anita, first level allowance. And I don't know, I had a couple of price plays in here. Is there anyone you really felt strong about?
There was.
Okay.
And there is.
I want to hear it.
All right, so this is a nice filly from France named Stevka. And this is a filly that actually was a maiden winner at Longchamp back in June. 3rd in a legitimate listed stakes over there, ran very, very well that day, and then and actually made the running that day and got passed late, and then didn't break in her last race in a group race, and she was not a factor. She shows up here. She hasn't been off that long, a few months. First time Lasix. She's got a lot of speed for Phil D'Amato, and Slevka is a filly that's training really, really, really well. Now, that's the winner on the outside, a stablemate. She won the Senator Ken Maddie stakes, Amy C. Very, very good filly. And tell me, and you're watching this work, tell me if you don't think the Bay filly on the rail, Slevka, is going the better of the 2.
Yeah, well, at this point, and you can see that, she's kind of waiting for a company. She's not allowed to extend that stride, but right about there when they eyeball, then she accelerates. And I love to see that, a filly that wants to do more at the end of the work.
Yeah, and she galloped out well. And again, that's really nice older stakes winning filly. So now she's winning against first level allowance, and she has a lot of speed. She's also a first time Lasix. I think, and it's a D'Amato. I mean, and she gets Hernandez. So I think Slevka's got a really, really good chance. Now, this is a better than average race for the level. There's some seasoned, tough fillies in this race. Kitty Katana, who likes to lay back. She might be a late running sprinter. better than a miler. She's been running long and maybe not finishing as well. She could be with Pratt, get some cover and blast home. Briefcase Girl's got that same kind of style where you get her, let her settle and make a run. So it's not an empty field, but man, from what I saw of Slevka, not only on video from France, but also in the works, tells me that she's pretty good filly.
And when you've got a jockey like Juan Hernandez, who's come out twice to work this 3-year-old filly, it's a great indication that they're on board with with wanting to make sure they get the ride in the afternoon. Race number 8, we've got claimants in here, 3-year-olds and up. This is a condition non-winners of 2 races lifetime. And in this race, the number 1, Sippin' and Kissing, I thought was interesting. A small barn who has a few horses, but I just felt that this Sippin' and Kissing landed in a competitive spot. Are you in any kind of agreement with me, Jeff?
I am, especially since Egomania, who was my original top pick, scratched. So with Sippin' and Kissing, now the barn doesn't win that many, but this is a gelding who is in form. Last 3 races have all been good. 2 at Los Al, 1 here at Santa Anita, a race in which he finished a close third behind Maynard, who's also in this race. But going a mile, Maynard is stuck on the outside, not that far. He's in the 8-hole, but still. And Sippin' and Kissing is going to get that great ground-saving trip from the rail. And again, a 1-pace grinder who doesn't really have a move. So I would tell the bug boy here, let him run out of there and preserve your good inside draw. I don't know if you're fast enough to be on the lead, but if you are, that's okay, because I don't see any closers in here that I'm really that worried about. I mean, certainly Maynard can be if he can negotiate a decent trip. But this is another race. Again, when you get restricted races like this, $16,000 winners of 2, I mean, these horses would be hard pressed to win a bottom open race. So there's not a lot of quality in here, and most of these have poor win percentages. Otherwise, they wouldn't be eligible to non-winners of 2. So I'll put Sippin' and Kissing and Maynard on my ticket and just hope from there that one of the 2 can win.
All right, we'll move on to the 9th and final, and we end the card with stakes race, the Blue Norther Stakes, and it's for 2-year-old fillies. We've got a good sized field in here, Jeff, and I was kind of looking at 2 or 3 in here. Did you feel strong about 1, or would you spread in this last
Here's the thing.
race?
I feel strong about 1. Now, I know there is 3 or 4 in here that could win, but I don't want to go 4 or 5 deep when I actually like 1 horse. I don't want to spend a lot of money trying to beat the horse that I think is going to win. And the horse that I think is going to win is G. Laurie, number 5. Very impressive visually in her debut at Colonial, and she won that race by 6, so much so that Graham Ocean sent her up to Woodbine for the Grade 1 Natama Stakes, and she ran 3rd in that race, got beat less than 2 lengths, and was kind of looking around in green a little bit. And he said, he was quoted in the paper saying, "We knew she needed blinkers. She won her first start without them, but she needs blinkers, and she's getting the blinkers here." That race was very, very good by Oscar Performance, a very popular and very successful first crop stallion who will get a long distance grass filly. Gets Juan Hernandez for Graham, and with the blinkers on. I watched her breeze the other day with the blinkers, and what I loved about the work was, even though she was second on the outside, she was switched off beautifully. She didn't pull. She didn't try to run off. She just dropped her head and did what she was supposed to do, just follow that horse along. They didn't want something too strenuous a week out from the race, but she cooperated with the rider. That's what I liked.
That's interesting. And she worked with Ancient Peace, who we talked about earlier on. That was that
keen.
Work, who was keen that day.
And this one is settled. And
absolutely.
So I like G. Laurie. I mean, she's got also her buyer number improved 18 points from her first race to a second
I was just going to ask you that, okay? As a 2-year-old, how much more a 2-year-old can progress through their year?
They can progress overnight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see that. That real good 2-year-old cowbred that Tim's got went from here to there, and like after a race, know. Kangaroo Court, right?
Yep.
So it can happen with 2-year-olds. And this filly was good enough to win by 6 first time out, but they went slow early, so she didn't get a good buyer number. But when they asked her in tougher company, she responded. And if she wasn't doing this the whole race, she could have won it. So.
Well, that's the 9 race card we have for you on this Friday. Hopefully, Jeff Siegel's given you some food for thought as you're handicapping your way through. And again, we talked about what a tough card this looks like, which means that we should have a nice rainbow pick 6
It's
payout.
not easy.
No, it's not easy. So, get your handicapping finalized, because we have a post time today of 12 noon from Jeff Siegel and myself on Quigley's Corner. Thanks for joining us, and Jeff will be back as the guest tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast. The turf course starts out as good, and the rail on the turf is out 20 feet. Here are the changes. We start with race 1, early pick 5. There is a super high 5 carryover in the opener of $19,886. Scratch number 5, Royale Flair. In the second, beginning of the early pick 4, there are no changes. In the third, scratch 2, Tostado. Scratch 7, Speedboat Beach. No high 5 wagering in the third. 8 Ajis will now carry 2 pounds over. Fourth starts the Rainbow 6. There's $126,000 in the jackpot pool carryover for a single ticket winner. No changes in race 4. In the fifth, scratch 7, Looks Rare. Scratch 12, Rain Over Me. And scratch 13, Phosphorescence. 7, 12, and 13 out of the fifth, beginning of the late pick 5.